So there's something people have said to me for years that has always kind of confused me. And I don't mean this in like a fake humble way. I mean like I genuinely don't understand it. People will find out things that I've been through, or they'll get to know me long enough to hear parts of my story, and eventually they'll say some version of the same thing. It's amazing that you're still the way you are. Or they'll say, I can't believe you're not bitter. Or they'll say, I can't believe you don't have a chip on your shoulder, or that none of this has changed you in the way that you see the world. And every time I've heard somebody say that, I really have the same reaction, which is, why? Like, sincerely, why? I understand what they're trying to say. I know that in a way they're just trying to compliment me too, but I've never understood the assumption underneath it, because what they're really saying is that they expected pain to fundamentally change who I am as a person. And maybe this is where I'm different, because that never even occurred to me. Like, why would I let somebody else's behavior decide who I become? That doesn't make any sense to me. If somebody lies to me, why would I become a liar? If somebody manipulates me, why would I become manipulative? If somebody treats me badly, why would I spend the rest of my life carrying around their attitude? Like I picked it up off the ground somewhere and decided that it was mine. I mean, I don't understand that. I've never understood it. And I know some people are probably going to hear that and think I'm oversimplifying things, but I'm really not. I'm not saying difficult experiences don't affect people. Of course they do. I'm not saying that trauma isn't real. I'm not saying that grief isn't real. I'm not saying betrayal doesn't leave scars, because I can promise you from firsthand experience, I know that it does. What I am saying is that I never saw any reason to build my identity around those things. They're experiences that I've had. They're not who I am. And I think that's where people can get stuck, because at some point, if you're not careful, the thing that happened to you starts becoming the lens through which you see everything. And then everybody becomes suspicious. Everybody can become a threat. Everybody can become guilty until proven innocent. And your whole life, it just turns into a defense mechanism. And maybe that feels safe, but it sounds totally exhausting and lonely, and like you're giving away way too much power. Because now people who hurt you years ago are still affecting how you experience life today. They're still influencing your relationships, your decisions, how much joy you're willing to allow yourself to feel. I don't want that. Like, I really don't want that. Life is already hard enough. Why would I volunteer to carry around extra weight? And what's funny is I've noticed that people often mistake kindness for naivete. Like, if you're open-hearted, it means you haven't learned lessons, or that you're gullible, or dare I say, even sometimes stupid. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. I think the biggest change that's happened in me over the years is not that I trust people more. See, I've always been openly trusting. I really have. And I'm still that way, even given the betrayals and things that I've experienced. But the difference is now that I trust myself more. That is the difference. Because when I was younger, I trusted other people and didn't trust myself. I had it totally backwards. My intuition would be screaming at me. My gut would be telling me something is off here. I would notice inconsistencies, weird behavior, red flags. I'd sit there and explain them away and talk myself out of what I was seeing. I would give people 27 extra chances. I'd convince myself that I was being totally unfair, or that I was imagining things. I was the queen of self-gaslighting when it came to benefit of the doubt. And then 6 months later, or a year later, or 2 years later, or whatever it was, I'd end up finding out that my first instinct was right. And it's not because I'm psychic, it's because human beings are constantly telling on themselves. We just don't always listen. So the trust I have now isn't trust that nobody will ever hurt me again. That's not realistic. People are people. Some people are amazing. Some people are not so amazing. Some people are a mess. Some are all three of the above, depending on the day, maybe even the moment. We're all just human here. The trust I have now is trust that I'll see what's in front of me. And if I miss something at first, I'll handle it as soon as I see it. And that's a completely different kind of trust. It's not trusting in other people's behavior. I don't have to trust other people. I trust in my ability to respond to what's actually in front of me, to what's actually reality. And when you have that, the fear disappears, because what are you afraid of? That somebody might disappoint you? Okay. Then what? You know, that somebody might lie? Okay. Well, then what? That somebody might reveal they're not who you thought they were? That happens. It's happened before. And if it happens again, I'll deal with it again. I think a lot of people want to achieve some kind of certainty, or trying to guarantee that nobody will ever hurt them or deceive them or let them down ever again. But that guarantee, unfortunately, doesn't exist. It would be amazingly nice if it did, but it just doesn't. What does exist is self-trust, knowing that you'll be okay regardless, that you won't abandon yourself, and that you won't ignore what you're seeing and gaslight yourself into believing something that isn't reality. Knowing you won't stay somewhere where you shouldn't stay just because you want a different outcome. And that's freedom. I mean, at least that's what it feels like to me. And I think that's why I'm not bitter, because I've really never, I've had reasons to be. Everybody has had reasons. You live long enough, you'll collect reasons to be bitter. But bitterness always felt like drinking poison and then acting completely surprised when you turned around and got sick. The person that you're angry at is probably just living their life. The person who hurt you is probably not sitting around thinking about you every single morning. Meanwhile, you're carrying them around everywhere you go. No thanks. I don't want roommates in my head, especially people I don't even like. And maybe that's why I don't relate when people act shocked that I'm still kind. Being kind feels better. Being joyful feels better. Being curious feels better. Laughing, oh my God, feels so much better. Experiencing life feels better. None of those things require me to pretend bad things never happened. They just require me to refuse to build a throne for them in the center of my life. What happened, happened. I learned what I needed to learn. I took the lessons. The rest can stay where it belongs, which is in the past. And if somebody looks at my life and says, I can't believe you're still this open-hearted after everything you've been through, my honest answer is very simple. Why wouldn't I be? I'm the one that has to live with me every day. Why would I want to become somebody I don't even recognize just because other people made bad choices around me? I might be missing something here, but that just seems like way too high of a price to pay.